Hi, this is Brad Donlan from Cricket Academies. I'm lucky to get an interview here with Peter Such. Peter Such had an distinguished career with Essex and England. Peter, I'm going to take you back a blast from the past. I remember you playing against Australia at Old Trafford, where you picked up your first or 5-wicket haul for England in a test match against Australia. What do you remember from that day?
That was a wonderful day. It was the first day of the game. The first innings of the game we fielded first. It had been a little bit damp in the build-up to it, so the pitch was a little bit tacky, so that helped. But it was just a sort of a wonderful occasion. It's one of those where I probably didn't enjoy it in terms of the moment. I enjoyed it afterwards, because when you're in the moment, you're sort of focusing on the game and you want to be successful, and it's quite a sort of a nervy experience with a lot of people watching and television and that sort of thing there. But no, it was brilliant, so I do remember it well.
I mean, to do it against the old enemy as well must have been giving you a bit more of satisfaction as well.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I was privileged to play sort of most of my Test matches against Australia, so sort of home and away Ashes series, and I loved it. That for me, the Ashes is the ultimate cricketing contest because of the history that goes into it, and at that time Australia were a pretty tidy side.
Yeah, they were not too bad, dominated Test cricket. We just had a spin bowling masterclass from you today, which I found really, really informative, so thank you for that. What are the major attributes you think you could say to those coaches out there that they're looking for in young spin bowlers?
I think the most important thing they've got to do is encourage their spin bowlers to actually spin the ball hard, because the harder you spin the ball, the more it drifts in the air, the more it drops in the air, and the more it will break and bounce off the pitch. Sort of spinning the ball and spin is your gift as a spin bowler. That's what makes you different, so you've got to sort of embrace that and give it a rip and really enjoy what you do.
Okay, so the moral is the spinners to spin the ball. What about looking at other elements of drift, loop, dip and things like that? How do spin bowlers develop that area of the game?
I think practice, hard work is really important. I don't think there's a spin bowler that's made it sort of had a sort of substantial career without working hard. In terms of those elements of drift and spin and those sorts of things, you have the option of putting different sorts of spin on the ball that can cause the ball to drop, like overspin causes it to drop, lateral spin causes it to drift, side spin to move sideways, those sorts of things there. So it's a case of trying to master those sorts of spin that you can put on the ball, but also spinning it hard, because the harder you spin it, the more it drifts, the more it drops, the more it moves off the pitch.
Okay, brilliant. What stage of a player's development do you think those should be introduced? Because that's a real technical area of the game, isn't it?
I think you've got to get them to enjoy what they do. You've got to sort of look to sort of try and instill some of the basics in them and encourage them to spin the ball hard. And each individual bowler will probably be able to do one of those 3 or 4 particularly well. And then what you look to try and do as you're building your spin bowler's competencies is introduce the other forms of spin to him so that he can use it as variety and then see where he goes with it.
Brilliant, thank you very much for that. You've had obviously great satisfaction as a player, and now you've had numerous roles as spin bowling consultants. What's been your most pleasurable experience as a coach, do you think, or potentially your most rewarding experience?
I think coaching for me is one of those things that it's the closest to playing that you're ever likely to get, having finished playing. It gives you that sort of buzz. I just think it's that sort of satisfaction of seeing someone achieve and progress. Ultimately they have to do it, but if you've had a little bit of a hand there in terms of offering some information or supporting them or helping them to develop, then that's absolutely brilliant. So the further people go in the game that you've had a little bit of influence on, the more pleasure you can get from it.
Yeah, I mean, the focus I felt today from your sessions is obviously focused massively on player-initiated learning. I didn't see any direction of anything in a 4-hour session, which I find quite incredible. Is that a particular focus of the coaching and we need to coaches need to focus on and look at?
There will be times for instruction and direction, and sometimes when you're dealing with the younger players, you might have to be a little bit more instructive. But you've also, as players progress and develop, you've got to sort of give them a little bit of freedom, a little bit of respect, and encourage them to sort of work things out for themselves to a certain extent. If you can create the right environment, set the challenge, they will find a way to succeed, and generally speaking, they'll find a way that is what you're looking for. So I think if you can create the right environment, they will sort of get it and they will progress. And also, if as a player you actually feel like you're discovering something, then it's more likely to stick with you throughout your career as opposed to being instructed.
Okay, brilliant. And finally, who do you think is going to be the next greatest spin bowler that England will produce? And you're putting you on the spot. Who's in the wings who you think may end up doing great things for England in the spin department?
I wouldn't really like to put a sort of names to it, but there are some talented young spin bowlers out there. What they need is opportunity to bowl and play in first class cricket. If they get that opportunity to play and bowl, they will get better, and who knows where they'll go. But that's the biggest challenge, getting them match play and competitive overs in first team cricket. So we'll see where they go.
I mean, the English conditions aren't really conducive for spin bowling, which is a difficult scenario, particularly early season. I've just come back from a trip of Bangalore where there's spinners galore, and it's incredible what that climate and those surfaces, what they produce and what they create.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, look, there is a culture of spin on the subcontinent. It wins matches for them. They have those dry conditions that really do suit spin bowling. We can get those conditions over here. We do have sunshine over here, and we do have dry weather over here. So I think it's just a case of us not valuing spin bowling enough in our domestic game. Okay. If we value it, we'll produce more spin bowlers.
Okay, I couldn't agree with you more. Thank you very much for your time, and thanks for today.
Pleasure, mate. No worries. Good.